E E E E Geordie Mam shouts the lad who came up with that. Hello everybody, welcome to Petronella, Yvette and Suella Does Fascism. It's like the most, actually I was about to swear there, it's like the most messed up Enid Blyton book ever. It's crap when you can't swear in the first 5 minutes. Is crap in contravention of the YouTube guidelines. Who knows? Who knows about these matters? I were going to talk about fascism again. I wanted to talk about UFOs, but here we are. Fascists are everywhere. Apparently, so are UFOs. But these are the priorities. What can we do? UFOs and the inhabitants, any chance of some benevolent help against the fash? So we're talking about fascism again. So great. Before we do though, bit of housekeeping. There's a bit of a building site happening. Our there. So if there's any clank, bang, dang, dang, that kind of stuff, I apologize. But I've tried my best to like sort of isolate it. And this is one of the reasons why we use this kind of mic here. It's a stage mic, so it points directly at us. So it's got like that range there. Not one of these other ones that you see YouTubers use where it just gets everything. Then no good. Why do people not use these mics? Use the right mic. Fools if you're going to record in an urban area. So here we are. What do we need to talk about? I'm just, I don't want to say shocked at the level of fascism that's kicking about, but because I'm not, because I've known about this for a long time. Am I shocked at anything? No. So it's probably not great for the YouTube thumbnail. Shocked face. Can you believe fascism's happening? Yeah, I can. It's like, that's not really what you want to see on the thumbnail. Yeah, I can. Slightly nonplussed. People, I'm not clicking that. Fascists are everywhere. There's the thumbnail. 20 million views as a result of it. It's crazy. I'm learning as I go. Let me know if you're about in the comments as well. Also, if you would like to do this. What we're doing is we're in the process of migrating a lot of our written work and polls and that kind of thing into the community tab on YouTube. Obviously, there's a crossover period where, like, obviously this fash stuff popped up, wrote a bit more on the main platform. There's a lad got in touch with us and says, look, I know that you're migrating stuff over from Facebook, but it really makes a difference. And I wouldn't have got onto your podcast without this. So I've listened and we're going to be doing, obviously just migrating it over. It's a slow migration, but it's heading towards that way because we have to just focus on the monetizable work, and Facebook have ripped it out for a long time with monetization. And they need to kiss my ass. Is that against YouTube guidelines? I don't know. No, we're dissing the competition. That's fine. Wave it through, they say. So that's would be very much appreciated if you go to youtube.com/cow daily, go to the community tab. You'll see all the sort of Facebook written posts and whatever. Quite a lot of them I'm just copy pasting into there at the minute. So it would really be helpful if you'd engage with the topics on youtube.com/cow daily in the community section. And I'm right amongst it because it's actually a kind of good vibe. There's a mad community development around it as well, and it's just nice. It's like kind of what Facebook was like when it first started. So if you want to get a bit of that down your necks, that's the vibe. And I'm going to be banging on about this because it's really helping build the channel, and that's what we need to do. It's like key, like keeping Cow Daily, Milk the Cow sustainable, or making it sustainable. So yeah, that would be mad helpful if you'd move across from Facebook to the community tab on YouTube. And I'm well about in there. Also, please subscribe while you're there. youtube.com/cow daily. If you'd like to support the work directly, patreon.com/cow daily. patreon.com/cow daily. If you want to make a one-off contribution to work, link in the description for PayPal, as plenty is done, and it's appreciated. Thank you so much. Let's talk about the fash. Read, because they're a boo-hoo. As you can see doing there, the fash are bad. Well, 4 minutes 39. The swearing can begin. Not far away. Anyway, I'm going to share this with you. Just give you a bit of a scene setter. Look at this. Absolute wrongin'. Seriously though. Check this out.
Nick Fletcher. Deputy Speaker, the people of Doncaster and Don Valley have welcomed people from all around the world, including recently through the Ukrainian scheme. But they also realise now that we are full. Will the Secretary of State confirm to this House and to the people of Doncaster, if an illegal immigrant arrives on our shores, would they ever be granted leave to remain?
Honourable Home Secretary. It is right. It is. We are at unsustainable levels of people coming here illegally. It is putting unsustainable pressure on our accommodation, on our public services, on our resources. That cannot continue, and that's why we need to adopt a different approach when it comes to the dealing of asylum cases.
Lies, lies, lies. Having a bit of a lie there, Nick Fletcher, Doncaster MP, or Doncatraz, as it's known locally, because you can never leave. Check that "we are full" rhetoric out, man. I mean, we're going to be talking about the language used and making historical examples, but also what people are saying now, like people who know, history professors, and just like the problem is in the UK, right, that everything happened the way it did between 2015 and 2019, and the meaning of shit has been changed. And we're going to actually look at how certain people are reaping the not rewards, but the karma of that on tall snakes and that. So let's find out what we got here. Oh, there we go. Check this out, man. Right, I just want to show you this. This is Darren Chesterton tweeted this on the Twitter. Who wants to guess what the interpreter is signing? If you are on the Spotify or Apple Podcasts, come see the YouTube channel and see what is. It is brilliant. I love it. So Braverman says she was offended by Lineker's Nazi comparison because her husband is Jewish. For people who don't know, who maybe aren't in the UK or whatever, a former English soccer player called Barry Spinnaker, he has come out and compared the government's policies to the Nazis in terms of how the treatment of asylum seekers and refugees. Right, so there's the crack. Suella Braverman says she was offended by Lineker's Nazi comparison because her husband is Jewish. Suella Braverman is the Home Secretary, and you've just seen her in the video there, dressed up like a poppy. So, did Suella Braverman say anything about this? This from the Telegraph. Boris Johnson, the EU wants a super state just as Hitler did. No. Did Suella Braverman say anything about this? Boris Johnson accuses EU of contemplating Nazi-style punishment beatings on Britain in revenge for Brexit. Did she say anything? No. So, this is from @mtravlodge on Twitter. Braverman claimed to be offended by comparisons of her barbaric immigration policy in 1930s Germany, when she literally refused to apologize to a Holocaust survivor for her inflammatory language. Bear with us, my alarms just went off for the dog's tablets. Sorry about that, life still occurs. When she literally refused to apologize to a Holocaust survivor for her inflammatory language about asylum seekers, is a perfect example of how debased British politics is. Debased is the word. The entire political class continue to debase our country. The country is absolutely beyond the gutter in something that I don't even know or have words in the English language to describe. Disgraceful levels of using vulnerable people fleeing all manner of trauma to then use them as a political football. And it's not just the Tories. We'll work that out later. Unsurprisingly, there's a sting in the tail because the so-called opposition are ride or die for this carry on. Whilst pretending they're not, which is weird. So anyway, what is all this all culminated in? This from The Guardian. Europe's far right praises UK's illegal migration bill. Nice one. I mean, Europe is riddled with fascism at the minute. The world is. And they want to change the way things are understood and the way language is understood. So the time for that is, well, the time for opposition to that is certainly now. 2 seconds. I've got videos playing in the background and I hope you can't hear them. No, you can't. 2 seconds. Have I got it all lined up? I do. Sound. Thanks for your patience. So anyway, Petronella. Who is Petronella, you might ask? It's Petronella Wyatt, so-called journalist. She tweeted this. And the Nazis weren't fascists. They were National Socialists. You see this, and it started off on like Stormfront and like fascist websites like that ages ago, right? It's about just a bit of background on that historically. The Nazis chose socialists, and it was people within the party who were uncomfortable with it because at the time, socialism and whatnot was like new. It was exciting. It was being very well received in Germany. So they used that as it was a marketing exercise rather than anything else. And people like Petronella Wyatt know this. Why do they know this, right? Well, here's her bio on Twitter. Writer, broadcaster, ex-deputy editor of The Spectator, columnist, The Spectator, The Mail, The Telegraph, commentator, GB News, Talk TV, GMB, and then she's got some like bullshit pronouns in there because she thinks it's dead funny, which we're not going to read out because we don't negotiate with, tell with. Right, personal life, just a bit of background on her. Between 2000 and 2004, Wyatt had an affair with the then editor of The Spectator and Conservative MP, Boris Johnson. Johnson had promised to leave his wife, and the affair resulted in a terminated pregnancy and a miscarriage. When her mother found out about the affair, she discussed it with the press. Johnson was fired from a shadow cabinet post by party leader Michael Howard for lying about the affair. He didn't lie, surely not. What a rotter. After he had initially categorically denied it. Honestly, did he? Who could have possibly worked out what would have happened when he became prime minister? So you may be thinking, why am I including a personal life? What's that got to do with it? It was with fucking Boris Johnson, man. Pipe down. It's got everything to do with it. It's part of this whole like cadre of bastardry where they're trying to change what language means. And I mean, anybody with half a brain in the head knows that the Nazis were not socialists. So this is from the Washington Post, and I've purposely chosen an American outlet for it because I just think the British media are just absolutely and utterly not capable of addressing this kind of issue whatsoever. So anyway, Washington Post. This is from Ronald J. Granieri, who's a Templeton Education Fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute and history professor at the U.S. Army War College. Quite funnily, it goes on to say, the views expressed are those of the author and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Department of the Army, Department of the Defense, or the U.S. government. Really? What is he saying? The right needs to stop falsely claiming that the Nazis were socialists. The Nazis hated socialists. It was the government that rebuilt Europe and that embraced social welfare programs. Just one thing I'd like to point out. Wyatt read history, Petronella Wyatt, that is, the tweeter, at Oxford and University College London. So either they bought the degree for her or she's deliberately doing what she's doing. Fully agree, Professor. That's exactly what we should be doing. And for the purposes of this show, that's just a primer for people to go off and do it. Not that you need to, because this is like GCSE level history class. And Wyatt knows this. And they're trying to change the meaning of words, and it all link back to Steve Bannon and the movement that we've spoken about many times on here. If you want to know more, go to the playlists about fascism. It'll tell you about Italy. It'll tell you about Hungary. It'll tell you about the United States and the CPAC. And it'll tell you about Bannon. And it'll tell you about all those things and how it can link into absolute rattery like Wyatt is bringing into the mix here. Because you might think nobody in their right mind believes this. Millions of people are starting to believe this shit now. And like we've been laughing at them for years, but also we're seeing them pop up on our social media and have done for a while. And they're straight-faced with it and they think they're right. And the thing is, right, because it's got socialist in the title of the party. I mean, look, if you the British education system isn't the best. I went to a comprehensive school myself, and it was one of the better ones in the area. Still shit. I mean, I speak to my partner who went to a bloody boarding school and went to school in Switzerland and all this, right? Odd couple, what can you do? And she tells us all about it, like, and it's completely different. It's like totally and utterly different. So if you want to know why we've got like different levels of society, I mean, look, it's not just about like the fees aren't just being paid there for the education. It's about the network these people get. So Wyatt knows the score. She absolutely and utterly knows what's going on. So didn't think she's being obtuse or anything like that. Anyway, what's the opposition up to? Labour, the so-called. Here we go. If you want to brighten up your day in this wintry cold, says some centrist melt on Twitter, who I'm not going to reference. Yvette Cooper is currently in the House of Commons schooling Suella Braverman on her list of achievements as Home Secretary. Again. Oh, that's that vibe in it. Withering. We're all right. Where there's no evidence to support what we're right about, but we're really good at word salad. Again. Hashtag illegal migration bill. The reason I wanted to put like one of several centrist melt things on screen is it's just such a problem lionizing people like Yvette Cooper who have a certain kind of history, shall we say, a certain kind of history I'm about to share with you. Good people, hold on, stop. Hey, she wants to get her face in the system a bit early. And that's not what we need from you, Cooper. So I'll just share the screen with you. Get this up. This is from the 2014 Immigration Act debate. I just wanted to set the scene about what these ghouls are all about because I'm telling you, right? I'm sick and tired of melts going on like these people are in any way our friends or in any way good for this country because they're absolutely unequivocally not good for this country at all. And again, if you want to know more about why I'm saying this, there's a playlist called Should You Vote for Labour? Cutting straight through the shit. No, never. But that'll detail you in a number of different videos as to different reasons why. So that's why we're doing it. So anyway, listen to what this horrible hell pixie has to say from the depths of centrist Britain.
Maybe she can get it sorted out in the Lords, but she should start acting in the interests of the country rather than simply in the interests of the Conservative Party, who have scared her away from making the right decision today. The Home Secretary.
So, the reason I brought this up is, hold on, I'll just get rid of it. Mute this woman. Mute woman. So, the 2014 Immigration Act at Sol Staniforth, one of the better accounts on Twitter, says, removed a key protection for Commonwealth citizens in the UK, exempting them from deportation. This allowed the Tories to go on and target the Windrush generation. Yvette Cooper said the bill wasn't tough enough. She did not oppose it. So can we look at the fallout of Windrush? And can we also look at what the hell you're thinking about caping for what is basically, let's call them centre fash, shall we? So let's see some more from the Hell Pixie stuff. So this is from your Cheeky Young Scam Milk Cow podcast. Some of you all would be content with more competently administrated fascist policies, and it shows. What I'm getting at with that is this. People, I think, and this is my opinion, might just be so tired that they just can't be bothered to think anymore, and they can't be bothered to think, right, well, we've got to pick ourselves up and fight again, and this time we've got to fight against the entire establishment because establishment B team have the establishment running it again, and it's never going to happen again that anybody other than them are going to be running it again. So let's stop this being like delusional and understand this. Because, look, there's more, and we'll have a look at it together, as usual. So, Ryan Lakey Lake, he gave me some hope here, this lad, and I wanted to highlight what he's saying here, but a little bit further on. He's put in one of the threads, Liberals are really embarrassing. He's linked an article from The Guardian. I agree with Gary Lineker on refugees that he should but he should delete his tweet for the sake of the BBC. That, right, is liberal centrism in the UK in a nutshell. I agree with it, but delete it from the record because of the cult of civility. We can't possibly challenge anything because we have zero principles, and it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's basically the crack. And that shit happened in 1930s Germany as well. So you can get fucked if you think we're not going to make absolutely valid comparisons, because that's what we're doing. Okay, thanks. I absolutely can't stand this mob, as you could probably tell, because, you know, that's what I think. So here we go. Ryan goes on to say, it's a never-ending pit of cowardice. The libs will always find a way to both sides any issue. It's a great way to sleepwalk the country into fascism. Absolutely spot on. And Ryan's comment today is my hope. And the reason being is, right, I find hope in yous and yous getting what's going on. So the more you see that pop up in the comments and elsewhere, the happier that I feel. Because it feels in some respects that I'm not alone and I'm not sitting here howling into the abyss, you know? So that's a great thing for me. So thank you, Ryan, and thank you, everybody else who pops up and does the same. Let us see on that basis who's about in the comments. We'll have a look here. Jacqueline's in. Hello. Jez is about. Nice to see you. Was is up. Hello. Kathleen White in the house. David Livingston. And it goes on. So, what's going on? All right, my sound went and it came back. Sorry about that. I hope it wasn't for very long. Oh no, it was for a minute. Great. Yeah. Right. So Jez is saying the Nazis smashed unions as soon as they got power. Not very socialist. Very Tory though. Exactly. What else? All right. Apparently, people have pressed pause on the sound and all that. He had his doing kittens, because you can imagine having to do this again. Right. What else we got? Kathleen is saying football pitches could be used to pitch tents so migrants could be housed in tents. We don't actually need to, mate. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't put nobody in tents at the minute with all the snow and that, you know what I mean? It looks a bit like Tenglo to me, and they're not prisoners. What I'd be doing is giving people look at the under-occupied housing sketch in Britain, right? Let's also have a look at that. 92% of the land is owned by less than 8% of the people. And the people aren't you and I, working class people. I'm not telling you off, by the way. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm just directing this at like the world. We've got room. That dafty from Doncaster, like playing to his base, who've had their heads pickled by GB and using their lies, he's wrong. We're not full. The problem is, like, historically, the UK never had a revolution. So we've still got this like fat baronessy sitting there, just like who think the land is legitimately theirs. It's not. It should be the people's. And also that's a big part of like house pricing and things like that. But you know, we're not getting to that. I'll do that another day, and why that's all a load of shite now. So yeah, we've got a massive problem with people thinking that we are so-called full when it's not even half of it. Also, the unoccupied housing stock and whatever. Everybody can be housed. The last stat I saw on that was from Inside Housing, which is like a trademark. I used to get it because I used to work within that sector, and it says that we can house a city of the population of Leeds in unoccupied housing around the UK. So there's plenty room. So we didn't need to be putting people in tents in the middle of winter, mate. But I hear what you're saying. I hope it's not on some malevolent stuff, because that's the type of stuff that the fash do say. Like, I actually did a feature on Lee Anderson MP, who's like basically knocks about with some fascist scooter club. And that was one of the things that he said he wanted to do. And I really don't think we can do that, mate. at all. David Livingston, immigration is a made-up distraction from other issues like the economy. Completely right. It absolutely is. It doesn't even figure on the top 50 issues, as far as I'm concerned, that we need to address in the UK. But it's used as political football once again. Jez is saying the difference between Tories and Labour at the moment is Labour would put a nice cent in the camps. That is beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. One more from Jacqueline before we go on. The establishment have arranged it so that not only are people on the left playing with a bad hand, they aren't even playing with any cards at all. Absolutely spot on. So what we need to be doing is that Buckminster Fuller thing where we just don't engage with that system. We build our own outside of the system and engage with each other. And I think that's what we can do and get some really big achievements at first in terms of how we relate to each other. As a group, we can then engage with the system and demand changes like HEPA filters in buses, which they do in Andalusia, without any kind of protesting because they know they'll set fire to the bins if they get any funny troubles. So we really need to be like winning a few things that we can win, and I think that's one of them. Obviously, we'll see what the fash say, like, you know. Right. What else we got for you? More Yvette Cooper business. We've probably got a bit of that. Right. Bit of fresh Cooper. Share this tab instead. It says, "Don't mind if I do," I say. Right. Let's check this out. This is just, what do you even say? What do you say to this centrist hell pixie? I don't want to say anything to her, but hold on a minute. There we go. I want to hear what she has to say, and then I want to say things about her.
By small boat, by other kind of irregular measures. So that actually has been in the place for years, and we wouldn't change that. But the point is that you've got to have a system that is working. And at the moment, all of the things that the government says just aren't working.
So you would overturn the Nationality and Borders Act from last year? You would overturn that?
Well, we would make changes to the legislation. We would absolutely have to make changes to the legislation. But we'll need to see what the legislation situation is by the time we get to the next election. There's obviously going to be even more changes that the government is trying to put in place at the moment. But one of the things you need to do as part of the legislation is set up a new cross-border police unit. That's what Labour would do. And we would put in place that unit, and that would be able to go after the gangs, get more prosecutions, and get more answers.
Okay, Yvette Cooper, Shadow Home Secretary, thank
you. Okay, Yvette Cooper, you big rotter, yeah. Am I back? Aye, the mic's back. Happy days. Okay, Yvette Cooper. All right. You're so lovely, aren't you? I love the way you so competently take down the Tories and at the dispatch box and just generally cape for fascism. So what they'll do, right? They'll do things slightly better, like a better managerial class or something. That's all they've got for her. They've got nothing for her whatsoever. Not a fucking jot. And it's just absolutely disgusting. Are you not disgusted by the Labour Party right now? I'm personally disgusted by anybody connected to the Labour Party more than I am the Tories, and I'm absolutely disgusted by them. It's not that they're trying to be anything, like they're trying to be the Tories, but as Jez said, with a better scent. It's crazy talk, man. Like, what we need are people to come out strongly and support vulnerable people fleeing war. Is that not too much trouble? Like, because, like, you know, here's the thing. If you've got issue with what I'm saying or this kind of talk, it's going to happen to you probably within your lifetime. It's on the balance of probability given the amount of war and all this, like, war drums talk. So are you going to be happy with that? Are you? Or like, giving it, there was somebody on my social media giving it the whole full thing today. You get the odd blow in, like, but we're curated as nicely as we can to get rid of as many as we can, but without losing the plurality, if you know what I mean. Anyway, whatever. The absolute shit coming out of people's mouths at the minute is directly linked to, sorry, I'll get rid of that Patreon banner thing. I forgot it was there. Is directly linked to the GB Newses and all of this type of stuff, which is losing money. It's going to lose money. The Sun, it loses money. It's not really its function, though. Its function is to pickle people's brains to believe any of this shit, you know? Just on Cooper as well, what did she say about Lineker? You would expect her, right, to agree. You would expect her to agree with Lineker simply because he's like some kind of like centrist totem after shitting all over any chance of a Labour government in 2017 and 2019. Cheers, Gary. Thanks, Gary, you Jugsy get. I can say that. I was called the same when I was a kid. I was called Gary Lineker because I'm a Jugsy, Dumbo looking that guy. Right, hold on a minute. I'm just doing filler until I can get this up on the screen. You can probably tell. Right, here we go. What has the centrist hell pixie had to say about Lineker? Oh, God, here it is here. Right, let we go on. Got to hear the voice again.
Gary Lineker has weighed in on this. Do you support what Mr. Lineker has said in his tweets?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that was wrong. I think he was wrong to say that.
Because, if I can just ask you to expand.
So
Oh, God, it all crashed. I don't hear her, though. She's a wrong un. No, I don't agree with Gary Lineker, but here's some like mealy mouth bullshit about like how we shouldn't talk about 1930s Germany at all. Like, meanwhile, the whole flip side of that coin is lest we forget, and like we shouldn't forget about these things. So which is it? They're making it up as they go along when it suits them. And it's about time, not just people like me, everybody stood up and said this. They're taking the piss out of all of us and they're making it up as they go along. And it's got to stop, man. It's got to stop. We've got to stop, like, sort of hiding. You know, that's one of the reasons why I decided ultimately to come on camera, because there's nothing people can say to me anymore. What are you going to fucking say? You're hiding behind a screen. You're hiding behind the microphone and just doing audio. You're hiding. Nobody's fucking hiding, man. This is the reason is, I've been on about this since long before there was a podcast, right? Fascism doesn't give a fuck about all of this mealy mouth shit that's coming out of the Labour Party. Do I think they're proper fascists? No. Do I think there's a history of the centre and liberals giving fascists a back rub? Aye. When? 1930s Germany. Oh, you can't talk about that. Oh, well, just guess we'll wave fascism through again. Fuck off, man. Like, you just, I'm losing it, actually. Bringing it back. Take a breath. They just boil me piss. Every day they boil me piss. Every day after doing this, after I've done the post-production and posted everything by Spotify and all that, I have to go and take a walk. Yesterday it lasted, well, I didn't do a show, but the walk lasted 10K. And it's because it's not about like just the fascist stuff, it's the cowardice. I'm saying cowardice from like people I know. Why aren't you speaking up? Like I was talking to a mutual, like a friend last week, and they were crying on FaceTime, and I was like, "Why are you crying?" Because we started talking about this stuff, and it was like, "It's not the fascism; it's the people that aren't saying anything. So stand up and say something." So what it is, you know as well as I do that I've like said for the longest time, I'm not voting for anybody, right? But do I think voting changes much? No, but do I think it's worth standing up and doing and using that as one tactic? Now, don't know. But the only thing that we've got, right, is the Tory Garden Club. That's the Green Party. And they've come out and said this. This is one of their graphics. Spot the difference. Got the Tories, Fascia Demas and Pliers at the top there. Stop the boat, send them to Rwanda, says the Tories. We've got Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer, a police plan to stop the boat. Just better managerial fascism. And we've got the Green Party, Carla Denyer, and I think the other one's called Adrian or something. Welcome refugees, safe legal routes. Right, you've got me vote. That's it. Done. Done and dusted. We're getting Green Party people on. I've already been talking to them. We're going to talk to the Tory Gardening Club, and I'll call them that to their face, and I'll see what they think about that term, and they can try and offset it if they want, and we'll see if we believe them. That's it. Nobody else is offering anything for people who are being abused and running, and they're being caught up by criminal gangs. They're also they're offering safe legal routes, which the French have been offering for over a year, I believe, and probably longer. And none of the like these parties have spoken about it. You saw Yvette Cooper there just talking about better managerial decisions and didn't mention it, and she knows all about it. And she's not doing that because of the bollocks focus groups that believe the red wall is in any way real. It's not. This is not 2016. Shut up. I'm from the Northeast. You don't know what you're talking about. Eat a dick. Suck a bag of dicks. In hell. I don't care. Here's the Green Party. Thought I'd pull up some other stuff. The cost of childcare in the UK continues to spiral. The Green Party's plan for 35 hours a week of free childcare would help take the financial pressure off parents and let them get back to work if they want to. The graphic reads, the Green Party pledge to provide free childcare for all. Right, got me vote. Nobody else offering any kind of thing. Green Party, we need to challenge the growth mantra. They're talking about degrowth. That's wholly rational. Right, got me vote on that now. What's this? Introducing a £1 fare to take you there. A £1 single fare on all routes across the country. Free bus travel for everybody under 21. Huge investment in new buses and bus services. P.S. When we put a promise on the side of a bus, we keep it. Right, we'll hold you to it. There's a graphic of a bus, £1 fare to take you there. Done. Nothing else needs to be said. I'm voting Green. I'm getting Green Party people on. I'm going to interrogate them. Simple as that. Well, talk to them. But if it's a little bit Tory Gardening Club, to interrogate, because we'll smell a rat a mile off, won't we, kids? Right, anyway, thanks for joining me in today's kindergarten. I want to talk about UFOs soon, right? But fascists just keep talking and popping up like whack-a-mole. Can we talk about UFOs? Somebody have a word with fascists, right? Tell them to have a day off, and we'll talk about Roswell. Love every single bloody one of you. Do you want to help support the cacao? patreon.com/cow daily, patreon.com/cow daily. Link in the description for PayPal if you want to send a tenner, buy a coffee, buy us a pint. I don't drink them, but I'll pretend I bought pints, but I'll be buying a pint of heated water in the radiator. Catch you soon, good people. Love to all. By the way, little secret, we're going to win. We're still here, man. We cannot be defeated. None of us. Ye listening to this, watching this. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a good review, all that good stuff. Are really starting to grow again after the enforced, the crash, as you can see, 2 months on. I've still got friggin' K-tape on my arm, even twisting that hurt. We're getting there. We're doing it. We will win together. Actually, there's a load of comments. A couple of them before, Ghana. David saying, would be very interested to see what the Greens are saying. Me too, pal. Hugs right back at your son. All the best. Susie saying, can't wait. Said this a few months ago. Let's go Green. Right back at you. That's what we're doing. Green Party for now, unless something better comes along. But we'll hop on each vehicle because that's all it is. Just like Labour was before. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to express the world that we want to see. And I want to do something positive. I don't just want to be all like, right, don't vote. Because a lot of people think politics and engagement with it is about just sticking a vote in and typing something up on Facebook. I understand why you might think that. And understand why you think that me not voting is me just disavowing the world. For me, it's about 1% of what politics is. But, there you go. Green Party time. Anything else comes along, we'll hop on that vehicle like a positive host. One more from Jez. Tories, I gave my incompetent cousin the job of refugee executioner. He's on a very good wage and pension. Labour, we've got a better qualified refugee executioner. What a belter. I love you, mate. I really do. There's some more hope today. Jez Hunt, Ryan Lakey Lake, and you. It's a bit like the old gate crasher ad, isn't it? See ya.